Okay, I believe we are live. Um, those of you who are online with me, if you can put in a little yes on the comment box on the right hand side or below this video, so I know that you can hear me loud and clear. So I'm going to get started in a few minutes. I'll just make sure everything is working fine. Okay. So perfect. I believe everything is working very well. Thank you for being patient. So it's been a while. Thank you so much for being here, and apologies for the radio silence for the last couple of weeks on YouTube, especially with the live streams. As you may well know, we had some issues with the internet speeds where the live stream just wasn't working very well, and it was breaking up and disrupting, which wasn't giving the best experience for you guys, as well as for me. It was very frustrating that I'm coming online and then you guys can't get the best out of these sessions. So we had a new broadband line installed, and I believe this speed is pretty good, and I can see that it is streaming pretty smoothly. So in today's session, I'll be covering Google Ads keyword match types as to what they are, which ones you need to use them, and how to use them. So if you have any questions, either during this live stream or after this session, you can put them either in the comment box on the right hand side or underneath the video. I aim to reply to each and every comment which you guys put up. So it does take me a bit of a while because there are quite a few comments to catch up every day, but I do reply and they are not ignored. So much appreciated for you being here, as well as putting your comments and your you being here. Okay, so let's start with the match types. So there are a few match types for Google Ads, and depending on the goal of your campaign, you need to use them pretty wisely so that you don't end up wasting a lot of your budget. And targeting the wrong match keyword match type will result in frustration, as well as the campaigns not performing properly for you. So what you need to do is to get started with choosing obviously your keyword list first of all, and then allocating which match type you want to go with. So there are a few of them. So first one I'll start off with is the exact match keyword. So exact match, as the name suggests, it is exact. But with recent changes in Google Ads, exact match is not exact match anymore. So it used to be where Google will show the your ads for a search term which exactly matched your keyword. But now it will also show your ads to super relevant or similar keywords to your keyword. So the way to put up your exact match keywords, to make a keyword into an exact match, is you need to put in square bracket and then put your keyword inside that square bracket, and that donates that this is a exact match keyword. When do you want to use them? You want to use them pretty much all the time. If you are limited by budget especially, and you don't have a big budget, you want to make sure that your campaign is structured extremely tightly, and using exact match keywords will result in your ads being shown to super relevant keywords. Okay, then we have phrase, and phrase match is within your keyword, in fact, is within your quotation marks. So I'm going to explain when these your ads will show up and when it will not show up in a bit, but I just want to show you how to set these up first. So Rory, great to see you. Great to see you too, Rory, as well. And I know you've been impatiently waiting for it, but I hope the streaming is a lot better. If you can just put in a comment, that will be good. But I'm pretty certain the internet is behaving right now, so we're pretty much good to go and back to our usual schedule. Okay, then we have broad modified or broad modifier. Some people say modified or modifier, but it's the same thing. So then all you do is put in a plus sign in front of your keyword. You don't want to have a space between the plus and the keyword, right? That's the wrong way. You must have a plus and straight away the keyword. But if your term or the keyword is made up of two or more, then you put a space in like you would, and then put in that keyword again, and so on. But you never have a space between the plus and that word next to it straight away. Okay, guys. Okay, WSI priority. Richard, thank you. So that's good. It's all working. Well, it's always whenever you start something new, I'm pretty much a bit nervous as to how it's going to go. There was a couple of things which didn't go according to plan, but that's minor things. But other than that, it's pretty much working fine. So you have your broad modified keywords with a plus sign in it. Broad. Okay, now because this is in Google Sheet, is going to give this error message. So ignore that, but you get the gist that it is a plus before that. Oh God, this is going to be fun. I always have this issue with Google Sheets. Let's try it again. No, it won't. Because it's the formula, that's why it is putting in. So it's a plus before the broad modified. Now you can, I'm gonna get the screen a little bit zoomed in. Okay, and now we have the broad, which is just the keyword. Broad is the least of my favorite keyword because Google just goes on a tangent and will show you ads on all sorts of keywords unless you want to dominate your niche and you want to show your ads for pretty much everything within that niche, then I would go with that. But I never use broad for my client accounts and also for my own campaigns. I can't remember the last time I used it, unless it is for call ads, where I do. In fact, yes, for call ads, it's a different type of campaign setup I use, and there I use broad match because it works pretty well for call ads. And negative, you have oops. Negative keyword. Okay. So now we have all our 5 mesh types. So let's go into as to where these will show and where these won't show. So let's start with the exact match. So if anyone wants to give me a keyword, throw it in the chat box and I'll use them, and I'll show you how we use them as a keyword. Otherwise I'll just pick up a random one. Okay. All right. So let's say we go for somebody puts in football shoe. It's in the wrong column. Exact. Okay, football shoe. So it will show for football shoe. It will also show for football shoes. Similar. It may also potentially and probably will show for soccer shoe or soccer shoes as well, because that is also football. So Google understands what this is. What it will not show for is somebody puts in a search term football shoe prices, or let's say Nike football shoe, and so on, because we've got other terms in that search term, so that it will not show for that. So that's why we call it an exact, because we are only targeting that keyword. Okay, I've got property management. All right, Richard, I'll use that for the phrase match. So we're gonna use phrase, property management. So that will be in quotation marks. So what phrase match means is you can have some words either before or after that keyword. It cannot be broken with any words in between. If that is the case, the phrase match will not be triggered. So it will show for, let's say, California property management, right? And it will show for property management agents. So what we have got, the word California before the property management and the word agent after. Oops, sorry, just give me 1 second. It's been hidden by the box. Thank you, Richard, for pointing that out. Okay. I think that should be better. There is a bit of a delay, so that should be fine now. In fact, I'll move all of these across, so we got plenty of space. All right. That should work. Yeah. So we've got California before property management and the agents after property management. What it will not show for, if somebody said something like property California management, because these two words which are your keyword has been broken with a word between these two, so that's not going to trigger for this search term. All right, now broad modified, we also call it as BMM, or you can call it broad modified or modifier, whatever suits you. Make this a bit smaller. Okay, so this will be, now again I'll have the same problem with this positive sign in here. Property, not broad, what are you doing? Property, let me see if somebody else has put in any keywords. No, not yet. All right, property management. No, okay, but you get the gist. You must have that plus sign in front of the two, so I'm just going to overwrite it, but there should not be any space between the two, between there and between here. Okay, let's try that. No, it won't work either. I'm just leaving it as it is for the time being. All right, so it will show for any keyword which has got property management. It can have words before, after, or any. Where's that other one disappeared? So it's going to show for certainly for this one. It will also show for this one. Is also going to trigger for this one. Okay, property. So somebody puts in property in LA management agent, something like that. As long as these two words are in the phrase, no matter where they are, it will trigger. So it could be management of my property in LA. That is also going to trigger. So what this does is, I mean, I quite like broad modified because it's going to give a variety of search terms and search queries which will trigger your ads, and you can then find out what people are putting in, because every day I believe there are about 15 to 20% of new search terms which were never searched before in Google because of voice. People are now talking into their devices and doing the search, so every time we talk and say something, we say it in a different way. So if you want to get a good variety of search terms to trigger your ads, then I would say broad modified is the way to go. It keeps it very controlled and tight, and it doesn't go off in a tangent and showing your ads for really ridiculous keywords. So don't forget, you need to have that plus sign in front of it. Yeah, because I know people are going to point out when they see this recording, oh, you didn't put the plus sign, this is a broad matched and not BMM. So it is a BMM one. So broad match could be, it will be like this. You just put in the keywords like that. So it could be potentially can show up for that keyword. And I've seen some wonderful search terms triggering the ad, so that's why I don't use broad match. You could have accounts management or any kind of stuff, property, cleaning, and so on. So you don't want to use broad match unless you have got a very specific kind of campaign where you need to go after people who are looking for any kind of management. So broad I won't. I would never run unless we run on call ads. But when you do run with broad match keywords, then make sure that you have a really good set of keywords as negatives. And the best way to do that is to create a negative list in your account and apply it to all your campaigns. And all you do is every time you find new search terms which you want to put as negative keywords, put that in the account level negative keyword list, and it's going to apply to all your campaigns. So you don't need to go into each campaign every time and put that same negative keyword for each one of them. Put them at account level, unless you have got very specific structure of your campaigns where you are putting negative keywords at ad group level or campaign level. But if it's just a generic one, let's say you don't want to show your ads for office or accounts, then these will straight away go into my account level negative list. And then I don't need to worry about it whether I have got one campaign running or 100 campaigns running. As long as they're all applied to that account level negative list, they will not show. And you should get this into a habit or a routine where you apply all the campaigns to your negative list at least once every 2 weeks or a month. It depends on how many new campaigns you set up every time in your account. And with negative keyword list, you just put in your negative in front. So if you have any questions about keywords, please put them in the chat box, and I'll try and answer them for you. If not, then we'll wrap it up for our first session back again. And as usual, I will be live every weekday at 5 o'clock UK time. So I'm just going to have a look as to what's happening here. If I don't reply or answer your questions, that means I haven't seen it, because there is a bit of a delay. Okay, Adam, you are saying when you are tier bidding, how much more will you bid for exact versus phrase versus broad modified versus broad? Is there a cost percentage to consider? Great question, and I'm glad you answered that. You asked that. Exact is my golden nugget keyword. I don't want to lose out on that, because if I'm selling California, or I'm offering California property management, and somebody has searched for California property management, I want to show my ads. So the most I will bid would be for exact match keywords. That's my personal opinion. Others may disagree, or they may have their own ways of bidding. But for exact match, I don't want to lose out on the keyword, and I would bid and be very aggressive. The least bids I would do would be broad, because broad is going to pretty much eat up all your budget without any problems whatsoever. Unless you have got a very good negative keyword list, then it is going to really hamper your campaigns. And when I do mean by when I say that bid aggressively, I don't want to bid way too much that I'm paying over the odds and my target cost per acquisition is getting out of hand and out of control. So you need to keep a fine balance as to what you are willing to bid, and I'm going to do a little session on that as well. Probably do it tomorrow while this topic is fresh in my mind, as to how much can you afford to pay for for a keyword and for your bids, and how to make it make your campaigns profitable. So I'll try and do that. Okay, so hope that answered your question. And the phrase and the broad modified are pretty much kind of like brothers and sisters. So you can see if you are getting great results or better results with phrase, then yes, you don't want to lose out on the search impression share, because now obviously we don't have average ad position in Google. The only way you can see whether how competitive you are on your bids is by looking at the search term impressions or the ad rank lost. And if you can see that there is an impression or market share to be gained, then up your bids, and you just keep bidding up and improving it. And if you find that as you are bidding more aggressively, although your CPCs are going high, you may also find that you are getting more conversions. You are getting entered into the premium auction in Google Ads, and hence it's resulting in better conversions. So as long as your campaigns are profitable, then you keep bidding aggressively and beat your competitors all day long. Okay, so I believe I've haven't got any other questions. That's brilliant. So thank you everyone for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time at 5 o'clock. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now.